Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at Photoshop test number 3 on the GMetrix platform. Let's go ahead and get started by selecting Photoshop from GMetrix, going down to Practice Exam 3 and pressing Start. From here, we're going to go to Mode and make sure we select Training right here, and then we'll go ahead and press Start Test. Now, as this is loading up, it is really important that you remember to select Training Mode on that previous screen. Otherwise, the order of the questions will not match up with what I have on my screen. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here to when Photoshop loads, and I'll see you in the next cut. All right, and it looks like Photoshop has finished loading with GMetrix. We're going to go ahead and click on the Photoshop icon that should be lighting up to switch over to our Photoshop screen. And let's go ahead and get started. Task number 1, determine whether each statement regarding content-aware fill is accurate by choosing yes for accurate statements or no for inaccurate statements. First, you have control over the sampling area that fills the selected portion of the image, and this one is actually going to be true, so we'll hit yes. Next, once an area has been filled using content-aware fill, it cannot be undone, and that is a false statement. We'll go ahead and select no. And last, the rotation adaptation fill setting is more effective at matching content with rotated or curved patterns. We're going to go ahead and select yes for true. We'll go ahead and hit next. And it is important to note that the order of your answers, the order of your questions might be different for this particular task. We're going to go ahead and hit next. Number 2, which of the following features preserves an image's source content with all its original characteristics, non-destructive editing? Is that content-aware fill, transform, smart objects, or the history panel? I'm going to go ahead and select smart objects. So smart objects are like a Photoshop project inside of a Photoshop project. So this allows you to get into your saved work and allow you to make changes before you move back out to the bigger project and continue working. So a project inside of a project will keep all of its original characteristics. That is smart objects, and we'll go ahead and hit next. And we are correct. We'll hit next again. What can be used to improve visual hierarchy? Choose 2. Font and font size, color, symmetry, or repetition. I'm going to go ahead and select font and font size. That's going to definitely be one of the big ones here. And next, I'm going to select, let's say, maybe color here. Now, there's a lot of interesting options here. These are the 2 that I'm going to go with. Font and size. Usually our eyes are drawn to the biggest objects on a page, so that's going to be a pretty obvious one. Color, this one's a little bit of a riskier play here. We'll see if that works out for us. But when we have contrasting color, something that really stands out from everything else, that can also help to draw our eye to it. We'll go ahead and hit next and see if we are correct. And we are correct, so that played out for us. We'll go ahead and hit next. Task number 4. An iterative sketch is one deliverable you will need to provide to your client. What is an iterative sketch? And kind of the most important word we're looking at here is iterative. So something that is iterative is something where we have multiple steps that are kind of building upon each other. There's multiple versions that are stacked and kind of progress farther and farther along as we go. So first option, a rough mock-up of design approaches for the project, which can change over time. Second, a sketch of the final design of the project. Third, a rough sketch of the project, also referred to as a design comp, completed at the initial stages of the project. Or fourth, a framework for the project. I'm going to go with that first one, a rough mock-up of design approaches for the project, which can change over time. And the biggest part here that I'm seeing that draws my eye is this change over time. And that's what we were talking about earlier with iterative, is that you're going to keep building on it. It's going to change and develop over time. We'll go ahead and hit next. And it looks like that one is correct. We'll go ahead and hit next. Task number 5, the image below is utilizing the rule of thirds. Now that rule of thirds tells us that we should have something interesting on the intersection between a couple different grid lines. So we'd normally break an image down into 9 different squares. So a line here, a line here, a line here, and a line here. And on those intersections, we should be seeing something interesting. And I think the main thing to focus on here is that we kind of have a lot of symmetry going on here, where these things are kind of like canceling each other out. So we don't have a main focal point on these corners. Instead, they're all kind of spaced out. So we're going to go ahead and hit false this image is not using the rule of thirds. We're going to hit next, and we are correct. We'll go ahead and hit next. Task number 6, remove the clipping mask from the photograph layer and convert the photograph image to a smart object. We need to start by accessing our layers panel. Go up to Window at the top and go down to Layers. From here, we are going to need to remove the clipping mask. To do that, we need to figure out which layer we're on, and that's going to be this photograph layer right here. And this little arrow right here means that there is a clipping mask applied. To get rid of that, we're going to right-click on the text here on the name photograph, and then we're going to go to Release Clipping Mask. And that's going to get rid of that clipping mask. Then we're going to convert the photograph image to a smart object. We can do that by, again, right-clicking on the name, and we're going to do Convert to Smart Object. And now we can go ahead and hit Next. And there we go. Got it in one. We'll go ahead and hit Next. Task number 7, create a new document made for art and illustration using the poster preset. Name the document Festival and give it a CMYK color mode. Accept all other defaults. Now, anytime we're given a name inside of GMetrix or inside of the certification exam, be really, really careful on the spelling and capitalization. So we should see that we have a capital F for Festival here. We're going to go ahead and go to File at the top, go to New, and we're going to go to Art and Illustrations. We know that because it tells us Art and Illustration right here. And then we're going to use the poster preset, so just clicking on poster, and then we're going to give it a name right here, Festival. Again, being very careful of our capitalization and our spelling, and also make sure you don't have an extra space at the end here. If we have a space at the end, that will count it as incorrect, so this will not work. It does have to look like this. We do also need to change the color mode to CMYK color. So where it says color mode, we'll click on this drop down and go to CMYK and then press create. And then we're going to go ahead and hit next. And that'll do it. We'll go ahead and hit next again. Task number 8, duplicate the flower layer and name it Wreath. Well, first we need to find the flowers layer. If you don't have the layers panel, we're going to need to start by getting that back. We'll go to Window at the top and click on Layers. And in this case, it hid mine. So again, I'm going to go to Window at the top and go to Layers just one more time, and that will bring our layers panel back. Next, we need to find the flowers layer. So right here it says flowers. I'd say that's our flowers layer. We need to change the name, or we need to duplicate it and then change the name. To duplicate it, we're just going to drag the flowers down onto this plus icon. That'll make a new copy, and where it says flowers copy, we're going to click or double click on the name flowers copy, and we're going to type in Wreath. And again, be very careful on your spelling and capitalization because it will count it wrong if it does not match 100%. We're going to press Enter on our keyboard to save our new name, and then we're going to go ahead and press Next. And that is correct. And that's going to wrap up questions 1 through 8. Go to your summary page and take a screenshot showing questions 1 through 4, Windows F10, and then scroll down to 5 through 8, Windows F10 to take that screenshot. And you're going to turn in both of those screenshots on Google Classroom in order to receive credit for this assignment. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all back in class. Bye now.